You know, in my business, I see a lot of amazing things walk through the door. Gold, silver, diamonds, you name it. But sometimes the real treasure isn't about how much something glitters. It's about the story it tells. And let me tell you, Irish coins have some of the best stories out there. They're not just pieces of metal, they are tiny pieces of history you can hold in your hand. Each one tells you about kings, wars, independence, and the everyday lives of the Irish people. For a history buff like me, that's the real jackpot. It's a journey through time, and you don't even need a time machine. Think about it. A small, worn-out coin could have been in the pocket of a farmer, a soldier, or even a king. It might have been used to buy a loaf of bread, pay a soldier, or been hidden away during a rebellion. Every scratch and mark on its surface is a clue to its past. This isn't just about collecting, it's about connecting with centuries of Irish heritage. For American collectors, it's even more special. So many Americans have Irish roots, and these coins are a direct link to their ancestors' world. It's a tangible piece of their family story, and you can't put a price on that. When you look at an Irish coin, you're seeing more than just its face value. You're seeing the art, the politics, and the culture of its time. The symbols on the coins, the harp, the animals, the Gaelic script, they all mean something. They were chosen for a reason. They were a message from the ruler to the people, a statement of power, or a celebration of national pride. Understanding these symbols is like learning to read a secret code. It unlocks a deeper appreciation for the coin and the people who made and used it. That's what makes this stuff so fascinating. So today we're going on a trip through Irish history, one coin at a time. We'll start with the very first coins used in Ireland, brought over by Vikings, and go all the way to the modern euro. We'll talk about the rare pieces that every collector dreams of finding, and we'll even uncover some surprising connections between Ireland and America. You'll learn what makes a simple penny or shilling a valuable piece of history. Trust me, by the end of this, you'll look at the change in your pocket a little differently. You never know what story it might be telling. Let's turn back the clock over 1,000 years. Before the 900s, Ireland didn't really use coins. The economy was based on a barter system. People traded goods and services. Your wealth was measured in cattle, not silver. If you were a king, you had a lot of cows. It was a simple system that worked for them for centuries. But then, a new group of people showed up who had a different way of doing things. The Vikings. They were traders, raiders, and they brought with them a new concept that would change Ireland forever: the idea of using coins for money. The very first coins to be used in Ireland weren't actually Irish. They were English silver pennies, brought over by Viking traders who established cities like Dublin. Around the year 997, a Viking king named Celtic Silkbeard, who ruled Dublin, decided it was time to make his own money. He was inspired by the English king, Ethelred the Unready. So Celtic minted the first ever Irish coins. These were silver pennies, and they looked a lot like the English ones. In fact, he pretty much copied the design, which was a common practice back then. It was a smart move for a king trying to establish his power. These first Irish pennies were made of silver and were struck by hand. A metal worker would place a blank silver disc between two dies, one for the front, one for the back, and then smash it with a big hammer. This process, called hammering, meant that no two coins were ever exactly alike. Some were struck off center, some had cracks, and the weight could vary. These imperfections are part of what makes them so interesting to collectors today. They show the human touch and the technology of the time. Finding one of these Celtic pennies is a big deal. It's the genesis of Irish currency. Using these coins changed how people in Ireland did business, especially in the growing towns. Instead of trading a cow for a bunch of other goods, you could now use a handful of silver pennies. It made trade simpler and more efficient. These coins were used to pay for goods, pay soldiers, and pay taxes to the king. They were a symbol of the king's authority and helped to centralize his power. The introduction of coinage by the Vikings was a huge step, laying the groundwork for a modern economy in Ireland. It was the end of one era and the beginning of another. After the Vikings, the story of Irish coins gets tied up with English rule. When the Anglo-Normans invaded Ireland in the 12th century, they brought their own system of money. King John of England, famous from the Robin Hood stories, was one of the first English kings to mint coins specifically for Ireland around the year 1200. These coins were important because they were meant to be used only in Ireland. They had a different design to distinguish them from English money. On the back, inside a triangle, was a design of the sun, moon and stars. It was a clear message. This money is for our Irish territory. Over the next few centuries, various English monarchs issued coins for Ireland. These included Media Group, collection of medieval Irish silver pennies, English monarchs' coins for Ireland, Stock Distribute, equally silver pennies, halfpennies and farthings. The designs often featured the king's head on the front and a cross on the back. The cross was actually a practical feature. To make smaller change, people would literally cut the penny into halves or quarters along the lines of the cross. That's where we get the terms halfpenny and farthing, which means fourth thing. It was a rough system, but it worked. These coins tell a story of English control and the slow integration of Ireland into the English economy. Things got really interesting during the Tudor period with kings like Henry VIII. He was famous for messing with the coinage to make money for his wars. He issued coins for Ireland that had less silver in them than their English counterparts. This was called debasement. The Irish people were not happy about it. They were forced to use coins that were worth less, which was a sneaky way of taxing them. The coins from this era, especially the harp groats featuring the Irish harp for the first time, are very popular with collectors. The harp would go on to become the national symbol of Ireland, and it all started on these coins. This trend continued for centuries. English rulers used Irish coinage as a tool of economic control. Sometimes they would make high-quality coins, and other times they would issue cheap copper or brass tokens. This inconsistency caused a lot of problems for the Irish economy. There was often a shortage of good coins, which made daily life difficult for ordinary people. It's a recurring theme in Irish history. The struggle for control, and you can see that struggle reflected in the very metal people carried in their pockets. Each coin is a witness to this long and complicated relationship between two islands. So we often focus on the big, shiny silver and gold coins, but you know what? The story of the small change, the coppers and bronzes, is just as important. These were the coins of the people. The farthing, the halfpenny and the penny were the workhorses of the economy for centuries. They were used for everyday transactions, like buying a pint of milk, a loaf of bread, or a newspaper. While a rich lord might deal in silver shillings, the average person lived their life with a pocketful of copper. These coins saw more action and passed through more hands than any other. Let's talk about the farthing. It was the smallest denomination for a very long time, worth just a quarter of a penny. The name itself comes from the Old English word fiorthing, meaning a fourth part. For much of its history, the Irish farthing was a tiny copper coin. Imagine trying to keep track of something that small. They were essential for small purchases, allowing for precise pricing on cheap goods. Because they were used so much, they wore out quickly and often got lost. That's why finding an old farthing in really good condition can be a challenge for collectors today. The halfpenny was another crucial coin. Worth 2 farthings, it was a staple of daily life. In the 17th and 18th centuries, Ireland faced a severe shortage of official small change. To fill the gap, many merchants and landowners started making their own private tokens, often called St. Patrick's halfpence. These were not official government money, but people used them because they had no other choice. These tokens are incredibly interesting because they show local designs and tell us about the economic struggles of the time. Some of these tokens even made their way to the American colonies, where there was also a shortage of small coins. The humble penny has been a cornerstone of Irish currency for over 1,000 years. From Celtic's first silver pennies to the large bronze cartwheel pennies of the 19th century, this coin has seen it all. The size and metal of the penny changed over time, reflecting the health of the economy. When times were good, the coins were bigger and made of better metal. When times were tough, they got smaller and cheaper. These small coins are a powerful reminder that history isn't just about kings and battles. It's about the everyday lives of ordinary people trying to make their way in the world. Now, here's a story that honestly sounds like something out of a movie. It's the late 1680s, and there's a war raging in Ireland. The Catholic King James II has been kicked off the English throne and has fled over to Ireland, hoping to fight for his crown against the Protestant William of Orange. James needs to pay his army, but, well, he's short on cash. He doesn't have enough gold and silver to make proper coins. So, he comes up with a desperate and honestly pretty brilliant plan. He decides to make money out of whatever metal he can find. Old cannons, church bells, even kitchen pots. This emergency currency became known as gun money. It was made from brass and copper, and the coins were struck in Dublin and Limerick between 1689 and 1690. What made them really unique was that they had the month as well as the year stamped on them. This was because James made a promise to the people. He said that once he won the war and got back on the throne, he'd exchange these brass coins for real silver and gold. The month was there to show who should be paid first. It was a clever way to get people to accept money that was, in truth, essentially worthless. The denominations were shillings and half-crowns. But as the war dragged on, the supply of even brass and copper started to run out. The coins got smaller and lighter. For example, a half-crown issued late in the war was the same size as a shilling from the start. It was a sign of just how desperate James's situation was becoming. You can literally track the decline of his military campaign by looking at the declining quality of his coins. It's a fascinating example of how money can tell the story of political and military collapse. For collectors, having a set of gun money that shows this change in size is a real prize. But as we know, James II lost the war at the Battle of the Boyne in 1690. He fled to France, and his promise to redeem the gun money was broken. Suddenly, all that brass money was worthless. People who had been forced to accept it for their goods and services were left with nothing. It was an economic disaster for many. Today, gun money isn't rare, since a lot of it was made, but it's incredibly popular with collectors because of its amazing story. It's a tangible piece of a dramatic moment in Irish history, a coin born from the fire of war and a king's last gamble. After centuries of British rule, Ireland finally gained its independence in 1922, becoming the Irish Free State. This was, a huge moment, and one of the first things the new government wanted to do was create its own distinctly Irish currency. They wanted to get rid of the coins that featured British monarchs and symbols. It was a powerful statement of sovereignty. They formed a committee led by the famous poet W.B. Yeats to decide what the new coins should look like. This wasn't just about making money, it was about defining the identity of a new nation. The committee decided against putting portraits of political leaders on the coins. They felt that could be divisive. Instead, they chose something that would unite the country, the animals of Ireland. They held a competition, and an English artist named Percy Metcalfe won. His designs were beautiful and modern. Each coin featured a different animal that was important to Ireland's agricultural economy and culture. The farthing had a woodcock, the halfpenny a pig, the penny a hen, the threepence a hare, the sixpence a wolfhound, the shilling a bull, and the florin a salmon. These designs were beloved by the Irish people. On the other side of the coins, the obverse, they placed the Irish harp, which had been a symbol of Ireland for centuries. This was the same harp based on the famous 14th century Brian Boru harp in Trinity College, Dublin. And instead of Latin or English, the words Saostat Éireann, meaning Irish Free State, were written in Gaelic script. The coins were first issued in 1928 and were an immediate success. They were seen as a beautiful expression of Irish identity and a break from the past. People called them the Barnyard series, and the name stuck. These designs were so popular that they were kept for over 60 years. When Ireland became a republic in 1949, the only change made to the coins was updating the inscription from Saorstat Éireann to simply Éire, or Ireland. When Ireland switched to a decimal system in 1971, Metcalfe's animal designs were adapted for the new coins, like the 1 pence, 2 pence and 50 pence. The salmon, wolfhound and woodcock all made a comeback. These coins represent a proud and confident new Ireland, and for collectors, a full set of the original 1928 series is a must-have. In the world of coin collecting, there's always the hunt for the so-called Holy Grail, that one super rare piece that everyone wants but almost no one can find. Ireland has a few of these legendary coins, and honestly, their stories are just as valuable as the coins themselves. The one that everyone talks about is the 1943 florin. Now, what's so special about a 1943 florin? Well, the simple answer is, it's not supposed to exist. During World War II, which was called the Emergency in Neutral Ireland, there were shortages of materials, so very few coins were minted. Official records from the Royal Mint in London, where Ireland's coins were made at the time, show that no florins were produced in 1943. For decades, collectors believed that to be the final word. But then, whispers and rumours started to surface. A few, and I mean just a few, 1943 florins began to appear. How did this happen? The theory is that the dies for 1943 were prepared, and a very small number of test coins were struck before the order was cancelled. These few pieces somehow left the mint and ended up in circulation. It's estimated that maybe only 2 or 3 are known to exist, making it one of the rarest Irish coins of all. Another incredibly rare coin is the 1938 penny. Again, the official records say no pennies were supposed to be minted that year. The government was preparing to change the inscription on the coins from Saorstat Éireann to Éire as a new constitution was being adopted. They planned to wait until 1939 to release the new Éire pennies. However, it seems a tiny batch of pennies with the old Saorstat Éireann inscription and the 1938 date were accidentally produced and released. Only a handful have ever been found. Finding one in your grandmother's old coin jar would be like winning the lottery. But the king of all Irish rarities might be the 1985 20 pence piece. When Ireland was planning to introduce a 20 pence coin, they did a trial run in 1985. About 500 of these coins were minted and sent to various places like banks and vending machine companies to test them. They were supposed to be returned and destroyed after the tests. But as you can guess, not all of them came back. It's believed that around 50 of them went missing, and maybe only 10 or so are in the hands of private collectors. Whenever one of these comes up for auction, it sells for thousands of euros. It's a modern coin, but its rarity makes it a legend. The connection between Ireland and America is deep, and you can even see it in the history of coins. During the colonial period, the American colonies had a chronic shortage of small change. British policy made it hard to get official coins, so the colonists had to be creative. They used whatever they could get their hands on, including Spanish silver dollars, French coins, and yes, even Irish coins. One of the most famous examples is the St. Patrick's or Newby halfpenny from the 1670s. These were unofficial copper tokens minted in Dublin. They weren't even legal tender in Ireland, but they were well made. On one side, they showed King David playing a harp, and on the other, St. Patrick with a shamrock. In 1681, a man named Mark Newby brought a large quantity of these tokens with him when he emigrated from Ireland to West Jersey, what is now part of New Jersey. The colony was desperate for coins, so the local government passed a law making Newby's St. Patrick's halfpence official legal tender. For a time, an Irish token was official money in an American colony. That's an incredible piece of shared history. The flow of people and coins went both ways. During the Great Famine in the 1840s, Millions of Irish people emigrated to America to escape poverty and starvation. Many of them arrived with nothing but the clothes on their backs and maybe a few Irish pennies or shillings in their pockets. These coins would have been the last piece of their homeland they ever owned. Imagine a young immigrant in New York City in 1850, holding an Irish penny with the harp on it, a small reminder of the home they left behind. These coins are powerful symbols of the immigrant experience. For American collectors today, especially the millions with Irish ancestry, collecting Irish coins is a way to connect with their heritage. It's not just about the metal or the rarity. It's about holding a piece of their family's story. An old Irish shilling might be the same type of coin their great-great-grandfather used before he boarded a ship to Boston or Philadelphia. It makes history personal. It turns an abstract story about immigration into a tangible object you can see and touch. That's why Irish coins are so popular here in the States. They are a bridge across the ocean and across time. For over 1,000 years, Ireland had its own currency, the pound, shilling, and pence. It was a system that evolved through Viking invasions, English rule, and Irish independence. The coins in people's pockets told the story of their nation. But at the dawn of the 21st century, a massive change was on the horizon. Ireland had decided to join the European single currency, the euro. This meant that the Irish pound and the beautiful animal coins that had been in use for generations were going to be retired forever. The end of an era was coming. On January 1st, 2002, the euro became the official currency of Ireland. It was a strange time. For a few weeks, both the old Irish pound coins and the new euro coins were used side by side. People had to get used to a whole new system of money. The familiar harp on the back of every coin was still there on the new Irish euro coins, a nod to tradition. But the animal designs of Percy Metcalfe were gone, replaced by a standard European design on the other side. The Irish pound, a symbol of the nation for so long, had become a thing of the past. This transition created a huge wave of interest in collecting. People started hoarding the old coins, realizing they were holding the last of a historic currency. Banks were swamped with people exchanging their old pounds for euros, but collectors were busy trying to save them. Complete sets of the Barnyard series, especially in good condition, became highly sought after. People wanted a memento of the money they grew up with. It was a moment of national nostalgia, a final goodbye to the penny, the shilling, and the punt. Today, even though the Irish pound is no longer in use, the legacy of these coins is stronger than ever. For collectors, especially in America, they represent a complete and fascinating story. You can collect a set that tells the entire history of a nation, from a Viking penny to the last pound coin. Each piece is a chapter in the Book of Ireland. They are affordable, accessible, and rich in history. And that's the real value. It's not just about money, it's about preserving stories. And as a guy who loves a good story, I can tell you the story of Irish coins is one of the best around.